What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We got another video going on here, and this is just going to be we'll try to make it quick. Things that you need that you may not know that you need until you need those things. Let's start with measuring equipment. These are kind of neat. These are specifically designed for the painter market. They've got measuring lines on here. These are for measuring out, this is 64 ounces max, so it is a half a gallon. These are handy. Gotta have those. And then we got these smaller ones here. They have increments of measurements on them in milliliters and ounces. And I know it's difficult to see, just smaller ones for measuring. These are incredibly handy for pulling nutrients out of liquid nutrients out of bottles, and these also are measured in degrees. These suck, these pipettes. For one thing, they don't hold much. For another thing, when these are full of, like, let's say a darker nutrient, you can't read the lines on there, so this sucks. You don't need that. These containers are really handy for many reasons, and we'll demonstrate one reason why right now. One important thing with your water is you need tools to measure your water. This is a Blue Lab conductivity pen. This shows EC. It also shows TDS, which is generally referred to as the 500 scale, and it shows the 700 scale. I would recommend that you just ignore the 700 scale depending on what region you live in, and just use the EC. It's easier for most people. When you get your Blue Lab pen, it does not typically come with this, although you may be able to find it. This is a conductivity probe care kit for the Blue Lab pens. It comes with a sensor and a little sensor cleaning solution and a little brush. It's kind of cool to have. And then this is the most important thing, is it comes with a 2.77 EC conductivity standard calibration solution packets. It comes with 2 of these, so once in a while, if you need to calibrate you need to do it right away, but every so often you may have to repeat that process if it comes out of calibration, so you're going to need this Blue Lab probe care kit. But the reason I'm showing you this mainly is if your home has a water softener, we're going to check out reasons why you need to have some of these things. Typically, this is a pH pen. This is an Apera pH 20. Comes with calibration solution, pH 7 and pH 4. So you definitely need that to measure your pH in your water before you feed it to your plants. But here's the deal. You might actually need an RO water system. And why might you need an RO water system? Well, if you have a water softener, we're going to take some of these tools that are designed for measuring the quality of our water, and we're going to show you why you may or may not need that. Now, if you have a water softener in your home, you may not know that that water is not healthy for your plants. It typically contains a large amount of sodium. There are some softener, I guess, additives, usually called salts, but there's different water softener additive that softens your water that contains no salts, and it's very expensive. So if that's your gig, I think it's worth buying an RO system like the one we have under our sink here. And I'll pop up a picture up on your screen, and I'm going to demonstrate right now why. This pen is set to total dissolved solids. You probably can't see the screen. I'll try my best here. We just dipped it into the water straight out of the water softener, and it's at 200 total dissolved solids in the water. This is softener directly from the faucet and through the water softener before RO. Let's show you here quick. We'll shake that off. This is water directly out of our RO system. And look at that, zero total dissolved solids in this water. Maybe you can't see it. 0 and 200. So there's a benefit right there immediately of running an RO system. You're putting all that sodium and dissolved solids into your plants. It's not great. You can probably get away with 200 TDS if you're not running a water softener, but if you are, you definitely need some other means of watering your plants. I don't know if you want to go after distilled or what. Okay, this is again, the Para pH 20. This is measures the pH in our water. We're going to measure the pH in the water softener, directly out of the water softener. 8.1, 8.1, yep. Now here, you might think that a lot of RO water is pH neutral. We don't have any mineralization filters on our system, but this is weird about RO. It's 8.8 pH, 8.7. It's a little weird. Let me show you a little trick here. Just for demonstration purposes, I've just filled this jug up a ways with RO water. Our pH is 8.8, 8.9. You'll notice that will gradually drop the longer we sit here. 8.5, 4. It goes and goes and goes and goes till it settles down to almost neutral. Typical pH you want in your plants, I think everybody probably knows this, but for those that don't, if you're between 6 and 7, you're good to go generally. And sometimes they call for a lower pH, like a 5.8 in something like cocoa, if you're growing in cocoa. We don't. This pH pen, this Para 20, needs to be stored. I always just dip it in the pH 4 calibration solution. Put the cap on. I always store it in pH 4 solution just to help preserve the pen sensor. What else we got here? As far as measurement tools, this is something you probably don't need. This is a Brix refractometer. I don't hardly ever use this. It wasn't very expensive. I think it was only like 25 bucks. But it's kind of cool. You can check the sugars in your plants, and typically the higher the sugars, the higher quality the plants. If I remember correctly, above 12 on this scale for this Brix refractometer is a good healthy plant. So typically you would just take some leaves, crunch them up, ball them up really good, and then you open up your probe or your sensor here, or your mirror here. You squeeze till there's a good couple drops on there, and then you close that, and you look through the thing here, focus it, and you'll see inside here there's a scale on your screen, and I'll pop a picture up on your screen to show you what that looks like. I don't use this very often. I would say you probably don't need it unless you're really into it, and maybe you need all the things. What else we got here? This you've seen this before in my videos. This is a quantum spot-on par meter from a company called InterQuest. This is for measuring the intensity of your light in your tent. Now you can use an Apple, if you have an old Apple iPhone laying around or something, and then they usually want like a 22 to 25 pound piece of paper over the light sensor. I tried that and I compared it to this, and it did not work for me. Some models may have better results, but this just takes all the second guessing of how high your lights are going to be, you know, what intensity they're going to be turned on at, and it takes all that guesswork and it throws it out the window because you have an actual quantum spot-on par meter. So guesswork out the window. That's good, that's handy. What else we got here? This is for measuring CO2 in your room. When you first start it up, it shows 500. Also shows the temperature and the humidity. You can plug in to the wall, and it's got a battery in it, so it charges, but you can always just keep it plugged in. That's what we do. We'll set that over here for a minute because we sometimes want to know our CO2 concentrations in our room. If they're super high, if you have like a lot of pets, or maybe someone in your home has a really big mouth and they're always yelling, which is usually my problem, then you may not need to introduce CO2 into your grow system. But we'll give this a second and we'll come on and see after it acclimates what kind of CO2 we have right here. Another thing that you may or may not know that you needed. These are hygrometers. They're extremely cheap. They show temperature and they show humidity. And that one just reset. Oh, there it goes. They're kind of all over the place, aren't they? One's showing 26%, 38, 21, but generally, you know, they're close enough. These you can drop inside your jars when you're carrying. You don't have to open them up to see what your temp and humidity is at inside there. Or if you're using Grove bags like we do. Handy, 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 cheap. Little hygrometers. These are kind of neat. These are AC Infinity sunglasses. They're actually designed for your tent. So if you're in there, you can pop these on your eyeballs and you'll look really cool. And you will be surprised how much damage an LED light can do over time in your, to your eyeballs. If you are in there when it's cranked to 100%, your eyes tend to adjust to it, so it may not seem like it's too harsh. But don't risk damaging your eyeballs. You need to have these. These are very, very cool. They come with 3 different types of lenses. One for LED, one for metal halide, and one for, I believe, I guess I don't know what the third one is for. But you can change out the lenses, and they come with these nice little foam surrounds, so it just keeps the light from coming into your peripheral. And it keeps your eyeballs safe. Comes with a nice little case here too, and a cleaning cloth. These are also inexpensive. Save your eyeballs. Okay, sometimes you want to know what your temperature of your pot is. You aim down below at your reservoir. This is a Fluke 62 Max. This is one of the best that you can get. You don't necessarily need to spend a bunch of money on this really expensive one. There are plenty of cheap options. But you can see you hold the trigger. And it's going to shoot out a little laser. And then wherever that laser is hitting, it's going to tell you the degrees. This box is 70 degrees Fahrenheit right on the nose. Also, neat little thing that it can do. If you're reaching in someplace and you can't read the screen, just pull the trigger, bring it back, and it'll save the temp on the screen. So you see it? 69.4 degrees. Fluke 62 Max. This is handy for leaf temp, soil temp, all kinds of temps inside your tent. See how hot your light's running, etc., etc., etc. So, infrared for thermometer. Okay, next we have these, and you never know when you might need these, made by a company called Real Handling. And they are my nunchucks, so let's roll. See? You never know. You never know when you might need some chucks. Defend yourself from Luna. Next thing you're going to need is a really good squirter bottle. This is made by a company called Spraymaster, and yeah, I know. It's made in USA. I've never seen a squirter bottle that says it's got a 5-year guarantee on it. So it must be good, right? I hope so. You need this for keeping your seedlings moist without overdoing it with the water and other things. For if you want to do foliar sprays, get yourself a really good squirter bottle. Do yourself a favor, because there's nothing worse than cheap squirter bottles that work once and then you put it down and you come back to use it again and it doesn't work. Spend a few extra dollars and get something that works. Another thing you're going to need is garden ties. These are just like little bread ties. Some people don't like these. I don't mind. It's got a little cutter here right on the bottom. These are super cheap. It's like $2 for one of these things. Except just cuts off a little piece of garden tie. When I tie my plants, I don't wrap it around and around and around. I give it a nice big loop around the stem, so then in case I forget this in there, that it's not choking out my plants. Garden ties, you're going to need those. Bamboo stakes. These are important too. You get plants that are flopping over or whatnot. These are 4-foot lengths. Just buy a big bundle of them. They're really, really cheap. Cut them down if you need to and not worry about it. Also, they're just handy all around. They're useful in a lot of different ways for a lot of different things. Whoa! Defender! Defender of the lorry! No! Okay, you win. You win. You win. And as we get closer to harvest, you're gonna need to have a way to look at your trichomes on your plants to see whether or not they're clear or cloudy or amber. This is just a super cheap jeweler's loop off Amazon. I think it was like 10 bucks. You're gonna need one of those. And when it's time to harvest, you're gonna need some trimming scissors, right? I've got two of the best on the market. We don't ever use the best on the market. That one or that one. I mean, this one's pretty good, I guess, if you need to cut off large branches. This is the Felco 310. Link on your screen. This one is a smaller, more agile shear, but it does not have a spring. This is a very, very good pair of shears too. These are Chikamasa shears made in Japan. They're traditionally used for grape harvesting, but if you don't mind having the spring that pushes them open in the middle, these could be okay for you. The ones we always end up using are the cheap Fiskars, because they have a spring there, see? You don't have to fight with it. Just trim away. We always end up using cheap little Fiskars, so maybe this is what you need. One thing you don't need that comes with your Harvest More trim bin that we're going to show you here in just a sec. This is supposed to be a scissor cleaner. It doesn't work worth a crap. It's supposed to open it up, and it's supposed to clean off your blades. And it doesn't, so we don't need that. Here is one thing that you may not have thought of. This is made by a company called Harvest More. It's the trim bin. And here's what this does. It's got a screen here in the top when you're trimming your plants. It's got nice little armholes so you can rest your hand in there and trim. Then when you lift it up, there's a box of Ferrer in here. And yes, you need these. These are delicious. Very, very delicious. So, in case you didn't know that you need Ferrer, you need those. Anyway, what the screen does for you while you're trimming is your sugar leaves in here too. You can put them in here when they're dry and shake them around. All the trichome heads fall into the bottom. You can see we got some in here from last time that we didn't get. That's pure trichome heads and a little bit of whatever. But it's pure enough for us. And you'd be surprised how many trichome heads you get in here. Stop throwing away your sugar leaves and trim your stuff in a trim bin by Harvest More. Another thing that's really cool that we found, if you trim your plants just branch at a time, these are really cool little stainless steel hangers. I know they're going to be hard to see. They have really, really strong clamps on that the jaws open pretty dang wide, and you can just clip onto the end of your branches and hang them. We use wire racks. I'll show you a picture of that, how we use these. These are cheap and they are fantastic. When you find them, buy yourself a couple bags, man, because these are awesome. One last thing that you may not know that you need is a scale. This shows you scale weight in grams, ounces, a bunch of other things. It'll do a tare weight, so you can set your whatever, your bag, your grow bag or your jar on here, and remove the weight of the jar. And yeah, you'd be surprised. Someone says, "Oh, how many grams did you get, or how many ounces did you get on your last harvest?" And you're like, "I don't know." And they're like, "Oh," and then you go in the bathroom with and step on the scale holding your bags, and you're like, "Well, it seems like I probably got like a pound." Nah, just get a gram scale. So we found this stuff to be pretty important to us, most of it anyway. Some of the stuff a little more useful than others. And this is definitely useful. And so we just wanted to put together a video because I know, sometimes you're like, "Oh, I got all my bases covered," and then you're like, "Oh, I guess I don't have all my bases covered." So if you got anything useful out of this video, hit the thumbs up, please, if you would. Leave us a comment down below if you can think of anything else that we might have missed here. And hint, hint, I left a bunch of stuff out. So if you can think of one of them, drop a comment down in the comments section below. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks.